I witness your hidden battles, dear one. Behind the composed facade you present to the world lies a warrior who has fought countless unseen wars. Each morning you rise, gathering fragments of strength to face another day, carrying burdens that remain invisible to those around you. Your smile masks the weight you bear, and your silence protects secrets that only heaven knows. Season after season has tested your resolve. Like endless winter storms, challenges have battered against your spirit, leaving you weathered but not destroyed. Your hands tremble from holding on so long, your soul bears the marks of endurance, yet you persist. This persistence itself is sacred, a testament to the divine spark within you that refuses to be extinguished. Listen carefully to what I am about to reveal. Your breakthrough stands nearer than your weary eyes can perceive. Though the landscape before you appears unchanged, though your prayers seem to echo unanswered in empty valleys, profound shifts are occurring beneath the surface. The spiritual atmosphere surrounding your life has transformed. What appears barren to human sight is actually soil being prepared for unprecedented growth. The hidden preparation. The restlessness you feel, the stirring in your spirit that keeps you wakeful in quiet hours. These are not symptoms of anxiety, but signals of divine momentum building. Like seeds pushing through dark earth toward sunlight, your promises are emerging from depths you cannot see. This is not your conclusion, but the crucial moment before everything breaks open into light. Your waiting has been marked by tears, by nights when you questioned whether your name still echoes in divine memory. But your identity remains engraved upon eternal hands, and every tear has been gathered like precious rain, stored in celestial vessels until the appointed time of release. When that moment arrives, it will not be a gentle drizzle, but a torrential downpour of restoration that will exceed your wildest expectations. The delays you have endured are not divine punishment, but strategic positioning. There exists sacred timing woven into the fabric of eternity. And though your human nature cries out for immediate answers, your spirit recognizes divine faithfulness. You have not been brought this far only to be abandoned at the threshold of victory. The sacred thread of suffering. Every ache you have carried, every sleepless night endured, every door that closed in your face has become a thread in an intricate tapestry being woven by masterful hands. Your questions and doubts are welcomed. Authenticity is treasured above pretense. Your silent struggles have been witnessed. Your wordless cries have been heard, and divine presence has never been distant but intimate, closer than your very breath. The momentum you have longed for is already in motion. You may feel encircled by impossibilities, but remember, the impossible is where divine power finds its greatest expression. What appears to be an insurmountable wall is about to become a doorway. What seems like defeat is merely a pause before the symphony resumes with greater crescendo than before. Your current season of preparation is coming to completion. The delays have never represented denial, but divine development. You have outgrown the limitations of your former circumstances, and what approaches requires the strength you have been unknowingly cultivating through adversity. Nothing in your journey has been without purpose. Even your weakest moments have been sowing seeds of future glory, beyond human perception. Do not measure divine movement by the fluctuations of your emotions. Heaven operates beyond the realm of human senses, establishing outcomes while you search for evidence, orchestrating details beyond your imagination while you wait for signs. Divine work occurs in the dimensions of hearts and timing, among people and plans that transcend your current understanding. The power that turns the hearts of leaders, shifts economic currents, and opens unexpected pathways through relationships yet to be formed is actively working on your behalf. Nothing exists beyond divine reach, and that reach extends directly toward you. You have grown even when you felt like you were failing. Your capacity has expanded, your endurance has matured, and your faith, though sometimes fragile, has been refined in the furnace of experience. You are no longer the same person who first called out for this breakthrough. Strength has been built within you. Not human strength that fails, but divine strength that endures. You are being prepared not merely to receive a blessing, but to carry a mantle, embrace a mission, and walk in purpose that will bless countless others through your life. The veil is lifting. If you could glimpse what lies just beyond the present veil, despair would never find lodging in your heart again. Divine messengers have been dispatched. Assignments are nearing completion, and forces that once resisted your progress will have no choice but to yield. Divine Spirit moves ahead of you, preparing the path, and divine presence, tangible, overwhelming, healing, draws near to lift your burdens and anoint your life with fresh purpose. You are not forgotten, forsaken, or finished. Divine hands never abandon their handiwork. You are a masterpiece in progress, and the current chapter of struggle is nearly complete. The next chapter holds not only what you have dreamed, but exceeds those dreams in ways you cannot yet comprehend. The divine implant. The longing burning within your heart is not misguided hope or delusion. It is evidence of something real, something planted within you before your first breath. The dreams that have sustained you through dark nights were not figments of imagination, but divine implants, seeds of destiny placed within your spirit. Though time and trials have attempted to convince you otherwise, these visions will not remain unfulfilled. What begins in divine purpose reaches divine completion. The stirring you feel is not an ending, but a signal that fulfillment approaches. Weariness has settled not only in your body, but in your soul. A heaviness that words cannot capture, a fatigue made sacred through faithful endurance. You have maintained belief when others surrendered, trusted when evidence was absent, and walked through shadows while maintaining hope. The record of faithfulness. Not a single step taken in obedience has gone unnoticed. Every act of kindness, every quiet surrender, every whispered yes has been recorded in eternal ledgers. The God who repays with abundance, not merely in material things but in peace, purpose, and power, sees all and forgets nothing. The timing, you question, has always been perfect. Though perfect timing rarely feels comfortable in the moment, divine timing stretches you, tests the boundaries of trust, and reveals cracks in your foundation, not to shame but to strengthen. What approaches cannot rest on fragile ground, so the waiting you have cursed has been the season of building strength that could not be developed any other way. It was never denial, it was always development. Silencing false voices. The enemy's voice whispers familiar lies. If it hasn't happened by now, it never will. These words replay in your thoughts, growing louder with each passing day. But this voice speaks deception, not truth. Divine promises carry weight beyond the power of delay, detour, or discouragement to diminish them. Your destiny is written in eternity, and no force in hell or earth can stop what has been ordained. Your journey follows no random path. Every mountain climbed, every valley traversed, every apparent detour has been woven into a route leading directly to divine purpose. Nothing has been wasted. The people who departed, the doors that closed, the prayers that seemed unanswered, all were part of a larger design. In the fullness of time, answers will pour forth with precision and glory that will silence every doubt. The expansion process. Trust is not proven in clarity, but in shadows, not in understanding, but in surrender. Divine concern extends beyond merely granting breakthrough. It encompasses making you whole enough to carry what is coming. If the blessing had arrived yesterday, it might have crushed you. Tomorrow it will crown you, because you are becoming the kind of vessel that can carry the weight of answered prayer without breaking under its magnitude. You are being expanded, and expansion often feels like breaking. But this is not destruction. It is the stretching of new wineskins to contain what is about to be poured. The shift approaching will make. I through dark nights were not figments of imagination but divine implants, seeds of destiny placed within your spirit. Though time and trials have attempted to convince you otherwise, these visions will not remain unfulfilled. What begins in divine purpose reaches divine completion. The stirring you feel is not an ending but a signal that fulfillment approaches. Weariness has settled not only in your body but in your soul, a heaviness that words cannot capture, a fatigue made sacred through faithful endurance. You have maintained belief when others surrendered, trusted when evidence was absent, and walked through shadows while maintaining hope. The record of faithfulness. Not a single step taken in obedience has gone unnoticed. Every act of kindness, every quiet surrender, every whispered yes has been recorded in eternal ledgers. The God who repays with abundance, not merely in material things but in peace, purpose, and power, sees all and forgets nothing. The timing you question has always been perfect, though perfect timing rarely feels comfortable in the moment. Divine timing stretches you, tests the boundaries of trust, and reveals cracks in your foundation, not to shame, but to strengthen. What approaches cannot rest on fragile ground, so the waiting you have cursed has been the season of building strength that could not be developed any other way. It was never denial, it was always development. Silencing false voices. The enemy's voice whispers familiar lies. If it hasn't happened by now, it never will. These words replay in your thoughts, growing louder with each passing day. But this voice speaks deception, not truth. Divine promises carry weight beyond the power of delay, detour, or discouragement to diminish them. Your destiny is written in eternity, and no force in hell or earth can stop what has been ordained. Your journey follows no random path. Every mountain climbed, every valley traversed, every apparent detour has been woven into a route leading directly to divine purpose. Nothing has been wasted. The people who departed, the doors that closed, the prayers that seemed unanswered, all were part of a larger design. In the fullness of time, answers will pour forth with precision and glory that will silence every doubt. The expansion process. Trust is not proven in clarity, but in shadows. Not in understanding, but in surrender. Divine concern extends beyond merely granting breakthrough. It encompasses making you whole enough to carry what is coming. If the blessing had arrived yesterday, it might have crushed you. Tomorrow, it will crown you, because you are becoming the kind of vessel that can carry the weight of answered prayer without breaking under its magnitude. You are being expanded, and expansion often feels like breaking, but this is not destruction. It is the stretching of new wineskins to contain what is about to be poured. The shift approaching will make every moment of waiting worthwhile. This is not vague hope, but divine plan, and divine plans never fail to materialize. The transformation within. What you feel now is pressure before release, trembling before transformation. Where fear once resided, boldness will take root. Where doubt cast shadows, clarity will shine. Where grief carved deep grooves, joy will flow like rivers. This transformation begins internally before manifesting externally, and the work currently happening in your identity will anchor you when external changes arrive. Your value was never earned. It was established when you were formed in secret places. You are not a problem requiring repair, but a purpose unfolding. The vision you lost when wrong voices gained influence is being restored. Breakthrough starts in the depths of identity, because when you know who you are in divine love, no lie can shake you and no delay can steal your confidence. The weight of waiting. You were never meant to carry pain alone. Divine presence comes not to expose your wounds, but to heal them, to restore innocence lost in battles, to remind you that breakthrough is not only external change, but internal wholeness. The ability to hold divine gifts without fear consuming you. Comparison clouds vision and distorts perspective. Your story unfolds according to a blueprint drawn in divine love, not according to others' timetables. What appears as delay is actually careful crafting, and what you are becoming is worth the wait because it will not only bless you, but heal others through your testimony. Confronting fear? Fear has attempted to be your constant companion, whispering worst-case scenarios and tightening its grip with every delay. But fear is not your inheritance. Divine courage dwells within your spirit and is awakening because what approaches requires boldness, not retreat. It demands faith that rises above trembling thoughts. Fear distorts possibility, magnifying obstacles while minimizing divine greatness. But divine voice now speaks over that fear, breaking its grip on your heart, reminding you who walks beside you, the one who holds time and eternity, who calms storms both around and within you. You do not face uncertainty alone. Divine presence goes before you, making paths through impossibilities. The nature of hope. You don't need to suppress hope to protect yourself from disappointment. Hope wildly, hope freely, dream expansively, not from naivety, but from being rooted in divine character. Even if circumstances unfold differently than expected, you will always be delivered into something better than imagined. Your hope is not reckless, it is sacred. Fear thrives only in the absence of truth, so truth now speaks. You are safe, shielded, seen, sustained. The future is not something to dread, but something already walked through and prepared on your behalf. Every trial you will face has already been conquered. Every battle ahead has already been overcome. You walk not toward uncertainty, but into fulfillment. The healing journey. Healing has not followed expected patterns, quick shifts, clear moments, obvious signs, but has come slowly, quietly, like rain softening hardened ground. This process unfolds one layer at a time, one revelation after another, one surrender following the next. Healing does not mean forgetting what happened, but transforming what happened, redeeming the past so it loses power to cause harm. Where pain once resided, altars of divine presence are being erected. Where bitterness took root, compassion is being planted. Where abandonment left scars, belonging is being woven. Where betrayal broke trust, faith is being restored. First in divine love, then gradually in relationships divinely orchestrated. The legacy of healing. You are not defined by damage, trauma, or mistakes, but by divine love, intention, and spirit dwelling within you. As healing progresses, true identity emerges, because much of what seemed like personality, withdrawal, guardedness, silence, was actually protection. Now, in safety, authentic self begins to surface. Your healing will ripple through generations, because when you choose to break cycles of pain, fear, silence, and shame, you open doors for those who follow to walk in freedom. This is not small, this is legacy, and it is holy. Your healing becomes soil where divine plans will plant ministries, friendships, families, and futures. Unseen movements. Do not underestimate what occurs in invisible realms. The greatest divine work happens where eyes cannot see and hands cannot reach. The deep places of spirit, future, and destiny are shaped in silence before revelation. Your silence has not been abandonment, but sacred preparation, and divine work in hidden places now approaches visibility. What looks like delay has been acceleration in heavenly realms, because divine hands have been shaping what eyes have not yet seen. Breakthrough so perfectly tailored to your life, so intricately built around your growth, that when it arrives it will not merely bless but establish you. This is not temporary relief, but the birth of a new era. The power of process. Divine delays are not denials, but intervals where layers of grace are woven into what you requested. Sometimes when you asked for fixes, transformation was chosen instead. Sometimes when you requested open doors, gates were constructed so others could pass through what you endured. Foundation has been built while you watched for movement. Things that would not sustain the weight of coming blessings have been gently removed. Each loss carried purpose. Each closed door provided protection. Each rejection redirected you toward divine best. Nothing in your story is random, because divine sovereignty wastes nothing. The substance of faith. The breakthrough approaching is not coincidence, but direct result of what you have sown in faith, obedience, and tears. Divine records keep account of sacrifice, remembering every act of surrender. Even when fruit was invisible, roots were growing. Deep, strong roots. Now that roots are established, fruit can come quickly, lavishly, without sorrow attached. Divine alignment is beginning suddenly after years of resistance. Doors that once resisted you will open. Conversations will shift, opportunities will arise, without striving. These are not coincidences, but confirmations that divine hands are moving pieces that seemed stuck for years. The release from guilt. Guilt has shadowed your steps long enough. Guilt for not being further along, for not doing more, for choices you regret. You have replayed the past countless times, wondering if something you did delayed divine promises, if you sabotaged what could have been. But perfection was never required for blessing. Divine love does not hold mistakes against you. You are seen through the lens of completed redemption, finished, forgiven, free. Guilt is a burden never placed on your shoulders by divine hands. Conviction comes from love too great to leave you in harmful patterns. But paralyzing guilt and isolating shame do not originate in heaven. You are not bound to your past, but being released into redemption. You are not disqualified by where you have been, but qualified by divine character. The sacred endurance. There is something sacred about how you have endured. Others see surface resilience and gentle strength, but divine eyes see deeper layers. Nights when breathing felt impossible, when faith hung by a thread, when silence felt like abandonment. You have walked through real fire, real suffering, real confusion, real loss. Yet you kept moving, even slowly, even messily, even crawling. The pain that tried to break you has carved new capacity within you. What once seemed unbearable now testifies to divine sustenance working through human endurance. When you felt near shattering, divine hands were catching pieces, not watching from distance but weeping with you. The authority of suffering. What the enemy intended for destruction has become the foundation for deeper roots that grow beneath disappointment and circumstance. You now carry authority that emerges only from surviving what you were never meant to survive alone. Your voice carries different weight. Your presence holds substance, because you have learned divine character not only in mountaintop experiences, but in valley depths. Not only in celebration, but in ashes. Your breakthrough differs from what you imagined. You expected fixing of external circumstances, open doors, answered prayers, solutions. These will come, but your breakthrough has become something more eternal. Your becoming, your rising, the expansion of your soul to carry more divine presence, the transformation of your heart to recognize what truly matters, the development of your eyes to see people through mercy rather than judgment. The prepared blessing. Soon the things you have longed for will begin aligning. Not because you finally achieved perfection, but because divine hands have been preparing them while preparing you. Some waiting was not about your readiness, but theirs. The people, resources, timing. Divine orchestration aligns pieces, so blessing will not break you or pass you by. Divine blessings are not random, but strategic, given when they will. Sustain rather than overwhelm. You no longer need external success to validate worth. You don't require applause, approval, or platforms because you have found anchor in divine love. Because of this stability, you can be trusted with more, not just influence, but weight, peace, glory, responsibility. You will steward these gifts with tenderness rather than entitlement, with reverence rather than pride. The transformed struggle. What once hurt you now gives you language to heal others. You speak comfort with authority that cannot be taught but must be earned in wilderness places. Your life carries oil pressed not from convenience but from pain, and now it flows not only for you, but for everyone you will touch. You are being raised as a vessel, carrying not just answers, but divine presence, and your presence will shift atmospheres because of who lives within you. Your breakthrough will not end struggle, but transform it. You are not escaping, but emerging, stronger, wiser, holier. You will walk back into places that once triggered you and find them powerless. You will see people who once shamed you and feel peace instead of panic. This is how you will recognize the reality of healing, the depth of deliverance, the permanence of change, the evidence of redemption. This breakthrough will not fade, because this shift will stay. You will carry the presence of someone who has wrestled with divine love and lived, not broken, but blessed, not confused, but consecrated. You will be living evidence of redemption, not just in words, but in how you move through the world. Calm, rooted, whole. This is what has been formed in fire, guarded in shadows, and is about to be revealed in light. The distance between you and breakthrough is far less than imagined. What felt like miles is now moments. The long night nearly ends as light crests the horizon of your life. These words are not spoken to stir hope in vain, but to prepare your heart for what now unfolds. What you have carried in faith, often trembling, is being brought into sight. The heart's transformation. Your heart has changed. The ache you once feared would consume you has softened. The longing that once controlled every thought has begun to quiet into reverence rather than desperation. This is not because desire has died, but because divine peace has taken root. The door opens gently, like sunrise after long darkness. Subtle initially, then undeniable. Divine hands align conversations, rearrange circumstances, soften hearts. People who overlooked you will now see divine favor resting on your life, not because you sought to prove anything, but because you allowed divine character to prove itself through you. The harvest of humility. You chose humility when you could have fought for recognition. You chose love when you could have closed your heart. Now, your harvest arrives clothed in grace. What you step into has nothing to do with luck or coincidence, but everything to do with divine orchestration. Holy results born from intimacy, obedience, and mercy. Doors open not only because of your prayers, but because of prayers from those who came before you, prayers never forgotten. You are the answer to generations of intercession. This breakthrough will not end with you, but ripple forward, shaping lives you have not yet met. You will recognize the signs: lightness in your spirit, increase of clarity, unexpected courage to risk what once felt too dangerous. These are confirmations that your spirit is being stirred because your feet must now move. The season of rest. You are not stepping into another season of struggle, but into sustained strength. You will not fight for every inch anymore. Divine momentum will carry you, with ease and joy. This does not mean battles will never come, but your inner world will no longer live in tension. Your heart will be established, your foundation no longer fragile. You will face whatever comes with unshakable confidence, because that confidence rests not in perfect circumstances, but in divine faithfulness. Breakthrough is not a single moment, but a shift in how you walk through every moment forward. With open eyes, alive faith, unshaken peace, with divine presence always beside you, always speaking, always guiding. You are not returning to former life, but stepping into something only divine hands could build. And it will be worth every second of waiting. The moment of revelation. The moment has arrived. What has been whispered in darkness now emerges into light. The quiet faith you maintained when everything screamed to surrender is being honored. Prayers you thought were buried under time are being resurrected. Dreams you shelved from weariness are receiving fresh breath, because divine promises are not delayed, lost, or forgotten. They have been preserved until the time was right. That time is now. You have been faithful in drought. Now you will reap in rain. You have sown in tears. Now you will harvest in joy. Your breakthrough is not something approaching one day, but something being revealed day by day, moment by moment. You are receiving not just what you asked for, but more than you knew to pray for. Because divine love is not limited by human imagination, it exceeds it. You will walk into spaces you did not strive for and receive favor you did not negotiate for, not through manipulation or ambition, but through alignment. When your heart aligned with divine heart, doors began responding to divine voice. Not your effort, but divine favor. This favor will take you where striving never could. This is the season where grace carries what grit could not, where peace replaces panic, where movement comes from rest and trust. The new you. Lift your head and look again. You are not the same person who began this journey. You are stronger, wiser, humbler. You carry anointing built not in ease but in endurance. That oil, costly as it was, will now pour. Your life will carry weight. Your words will heal. Your presence will shift atmospheres, because you know what it means to walk through fire and emerge carrying glory, not smoke. You will no longer live grasping for scraps of peace. You will feast, flourish, and your table will become refuge for others. Divine hands are not just blessing, but establishing you. You will know what it means to be grounded, to breathe deeply again, to dream without fear of loss, to rest without bracing for disappointment. The trauma that shaped your expectations is being undone. You are no longer waiting for disaster, but walking in the goodness planned all along. The overflow. You will give freely, not from obligation, but overflow. You will share divine testimonies, not to impress, but inspire, because you know the price paid in darkness, the nights of weeping and wondering if divine ears still heard you. With each breakthrough, you will remember every word was heard, every tear was caught, and all of it was turned into glory. You are closer to breakthrough than you think, because you are standing in it. Feel it. Let it penetrate your consciousness. You are not the same. Your life is not the same. The winds have shifted. The old has passed. The new has come, and this is only the beginning. You will look back and say, it all makes sense now. Every delay, every detour, every struggle, it was preparing me for this. The call to walk forward. So walk boldly now, walk free. Walk with open hands and lifted eyes. Your breakthrough is not fragile but firm, not fleeting but eternal. Divine hands have accomplished this work. Now go and share what has been spoken. Let others know they too are closer to breakthrough than they think. The testimony living in you will become hope rising in them. Your story is not over. It is just beginning. The best chapters lie ahead, written in divine love, sealed with divine promise, guaranteed by divine faithfulness. Nothing can alter this truth. Nothing can steal this victory. Nothing can diminish this glory. You are breakthrough walking. You are promise fulfilled. You are divine love made manifest in human form. And this world needs to see what you carry, hear what you know, and receive what flows through you. The breakthrough is here. The breakthrough is now. The breakthrough is you. The sacred journey of becoming. Your transformation has been gradual, like the slow turning of seasons, each phase necessary for the complete work being accomplished within you. The person you were when this journey began could not have carried what you are about to receive. Your capacity has been stretched through experience, your character refined through trial, your wisdom deepened through walking paths you never chose, but which chose you for divine purposes. There is profound beauty in how divine love works through process rather than instant gratification. While the world celebrates immediate results and overnight success, heaven operates on principles of deep root systems and lasting foundations. What grows quickly often withers just as fast, but what is cultivated slowly, deliberately, with careful attention to soil and season, produces fruit that endures for generations. You have been in the school of divine love, though you may not have recognized the curriculum. Every lesson, though painful, has contributed to your preparation for this moment. The courses in patience taught you to wait without losing hope. The studies in faith showed you how to believe when evidence contradicted your prayers. The training in perseverance built muscles of endurance you didn't know you possessed, and now you graduate not with mere head knowledge, but with heart wisdom that can only be earned through lived experience. The alchemy of adversity. What the world calls failure, heaven calls formation. What others label as setbacks, divine wisdom recognizes as setups for greater glory. The adversity you have faced has not been punishment but preparation, not curse but curriculum. Every challenge has contributed to an internal alchemy that transforms base metal into gold, turning your pain into power, your wounds into wisdom, your scars into strength. This divine alchemy works in ways that defy human logic. Where natural thinking says, break down, divine thinking orchestrates breakthrough. Where human wisdom sees endings, divine wisdom plants new beginnings. The very things that seem to work against you have been working for you in ways you could not perceive at the time. Your enemies became your educators, your obstacles became your opportunities, your setbacks became your setups for comeback. The tears you shed were not wasted water, but sacred irrigation for seeds of destiny planted in the soil of your spirit. Every drop of grief watered ground that will now produce harvests of joy. Every moment of despair fertilized faith that will now flourish beyond your wildest dreams. The dark seasons were not evidence of divine absence, but proof of divine presence working in ways that transcend human understanding. The mathematics of divine love. Divine love operates by mathematics that confound earthly calculations. Where human arithmetic says subtraction, divine love performs multiplication. Where worldly logic sees division, heavenly wisdom creates exponential increase. The losses you experienced were not reducing your inheritance, but compounding interest on investments you didn't know you were making. Every sacrifice you made in secret has been recorded in eternal ledgers, where nothing is forgotten and everything is rewarded. The kindness you showed when you had nothing left to give, the love you extended when you felt unloved, the faith you maintained when you felt abandoned, all of it has been accumulating dividends in divine accounts that are now ready for withdrawal. You have been living in a season of deposits, often feeling like you were only giving out while receiving little in return. But divine economics work differently than human finance. There is no scarcity in heaven's treasury, no shortage in divine storehouses, no limitation on what love can provide. The vaults of heaven have been filling with blessings that bear your name, gifts that were designed specifically for your life, provision that was prepared before you knew you would need it. The architecture of hope. Hope has been rebuilt within you, not with the fragile materials of wishful thinking, but with the solid architecture of divine promises. The hope you carry now is not naive optimism, but battle-tested confidence. Not blind faith, but sight refined by walking through fire. You have learned to hope not because circumstances look promising, but because divine character remains unchanging. This hope is not dependent on external validation or visible progress. It is anchored in truths that transcend temporary appearances and shifting circumstances. Your hope has been tested by delay and strengthened by disappointment, purified by questions and fortified by doubts, wrestled through to resolution. The hope you now carry cannot be shaken by setbacks because it is rooted in soil deeper than surface circumstances. You have discovered that hope is not a feeling but a choice, not an emotion but a discipline, not a luxury but a necessity for spiritual survival. When feelings failed you, hope sustained you. When emotions betrayed you, hope remained faithful. When circumstances contradicted every promise you believed, hope held steady like an anchor in the storm, keeping you from drifting into despair. The symphony of silence. The silence you endured was not empty space, but pregnant pause. Not divine absence, but sacred preparation. Like the silence between musical notes that gives meaning to melody, your seasons of quiet were essential elements in the symphony being composed around your life. Without the rests, the music would be noise. Without the pauses, the rhythm would be chaos. In the silence, divine love was working at frequencies beyond human hearing, orchestrating arrangements that required perfect timing to execute. While you heard nothing, heaven was busy coordinating people, circumstances, opportunities, and resources in a complex dance of preparation. The silence was not punishment but protection, not abandonment but orchestration of elements too delicate to disturb with premature revelation. You learned in the quiet that divine love speaks as powerfully through silence as through audible voice. The absence of words taught you to listen with your spirit rather than your ears, to discern divine presence through peace rather than proclamation, to recognize divine movement through the shifting of your heart rather than the speaking of your mind. The silence refined your spiritual senses until you could detect divine activity in the smallest changes, the subtlest shifts, the quietest movements of grace. The pregnancy of promise. Every promise carries a gestation period, a time of hidden development before public manifestation. You have been pregnant with possibility, carrying dreams that have been developing in secret places beyond the scrutiny of doubt and the interference of fear. Like a mother who cannot see the baby growing within her womb, but knows life is forming, you have sensed divine activity even when you could not see divine action. The pregnancy of promise requires patience, faith, and the willingness to carry something precious without knowing exactly when it will be born. There are seasons when the promise feels heavier, when the waiting becomes more uncomfortable, when you wonder if you have the strength to carry it any longer. But just as physical pregnancy has its appointed time for delivery, spiritual pregnancy operates by divine calendar that cannot be rushed or delayed. Your promises are now in the final stages of development. What has been forming in hiddenness is ready for revelation. The contractions you feel in your spirit are not signs of distress, but indications of imminent delivery. The pressure building in your soul is not burden but birth pangs, announcing that what you have carried so long is about to emerge into the light of manifestation. The technology of transformation. Divine love employs technologies of transformation that operate beyond human understanding. While earthly science discovers natural laws, heavenly wisdom creates supernatural possibilities. The technology of grace can instantly rewire patterns that have persisted for years. The software of divine love can reprogram thinking that has been corrupted by painful experiences. The hardware of human spirit can be upgraded to run on higher frequencies of faith, hope, and love. You are undergoing a divine upgrade that affects every system of your being. Your spiritual operating system is being enhanced with new capabilities for joy, peace, and power. Your emotional software is being debugged, removing viruses of fear, shame, and condemnation that have slowed your performance. Your mental hardware is being expanded to process larger amounts of hope, faith, and possibility than ever before. This transformation happens at the cellular level of your identity, rewriting the core programming that determines how you see yourself, others, and divine love. Old files of rejection are being deleted and replaced with acceptance. Corrupted data of failure is being restored with success. Damaged memories are being healed and redeemed, transformed from sources of pain into testimonies of divine faithfulness. The ecosystem of elevation. Your elevation affects more than just your individual life. It creates an entire ecosystem of blessing that extends to everyone in your sphere of influence. Like a tree that provides shade, fruit, and oxygen to its environment, your breakthrough becomes a source of life for others who have been waiting for evidence that breakthrough is possible. The promotion you receive creates job opportunities for others. The healing you experience provides hope for those still struggling. The doors that open for you become pathways that others can follow. Your victory becomes a beacon of possibility for those still fighting their battles. Your testimony becomes a bridge. This is why your breakthrough matters beyond your personal benefit. You are not just an individual receiving blessing, but a catalyst for transformation in your community, your family, your sphere of influence. The breakthrough you experience will have ripple effects that extend far beyond what you can see, touching lives you may never know about, inspiring faith in hearts you may never meet. The currency of character. Your character has become currency in divine economy, purchasing access to realms that money cannot buy, opening doors that influence cannot unlock, creating opportunities that networking cannot provide. The integrity you maintained when no one was watching has earned you credibility that will speak for you in rooms you have not yet entered. The faithfulness you demonstrated in small matters has qualified you for greater responsibilities. The kindness you showed when you were hurting has deposited compassion in your account that will compound interest for years to come. The forgiveness you extended when you were wounded has purchased freedom not just for yourself, but for others who will benefit from your liberated heart. Character cannot be counterfeited, integrity cannot be imitated, and authenticity cannot be faked. These qualities are divine currency that maintains its value regardless of market fluctuations, economic downturns, or cultural shifts. What you have built through years of choosing right when wrong seemed easier will now pay dividends that money cannot match and success cannot provide. The geography of grace. Grace has been mapping new territories in your life, claiming ground that once belonged to fear, anxiety, and despair. Like an advancing army that liberates occupied territory, grace has been systematically conquering areas of your heart and mind that were held captive by lies, wounds, and limitations. What once seemed like permanent fixtures in your emotional landscape are being demolished to make room for gardens of hope, peace, and joy. The geography of your inner world is being redrawn with new boundaries that exclude shame, condemnation, and self-hatred. New rivers of mercy are flowing through valleys that were once dry and barren. Fresh springs of joy are bubbling up in places where only tears once flowed. Mountains of impossibility are being moved to reveal vistas of potential you never knew existed. Your spiritual GPS is being recalibrated to navigate by divine coordinates rather than human limitations. The maps you once used to chart your course, drawn by past experiences and marked with warnings about what was possible for someone like you, are being replaced with divine blueprints that show roads leading to destinations you never dared to dream about. The laboratory of love. Your life has become a laboratory where divine love conducts experiments in transformation, testing theories about what is possible when grace meets willingness, when mercy encounters surrender, when hope collides with faith. The results of these experiments will become textbooks for others who wonder if change is possible, if healing can happen, if breakthrough can occur for people like them. In this laboratory, failures are not final but formative. Mistakes are not catastrophic but educational. Setbacks are not endings but recalibrations. Every experiment teaches something valuable about how divine love works in human lives, how grace operates in practical situations, how faith functions in real-world circumstances. You have been both the scientist and the subject, observing divine activity while experiencing divine transformation. The data you have collected through years of trial and error, success and failure, progress and setback, will become wisdom that helps others navigate their own experimental seasons with greater confidence and clearer understanding. The Orchestra of Destiny. Your life has become an instrument in a cosmic orchestra, where divine love serves as conductor, coordinating your melody with the harmonies of others to create symphonies that declare divine glory. The music being produced is not just for heaven's enjoyment, but for earth's inspiration, not just for divine pleasure, but for human hope. Every note you have played, even the ones that seemed discordant at the time, has contributed to a larger composition that tells the story of redemption, restoration, and renewal. The painful passages were not mistakes, but minor keys that give depth and meaning to the major movements of joy and victory that are now beginning to dominate the score. You are learning to play in harmony with divine timing, to follow the conductor's lead rather than trying to direct the music yourself, to trust that your part matters, even when you cannot hear how it fits with the rest of the orchestra. The music emerging from your life will inspire others to pick up their own instruments and join the symphony of souls who are discovering their divine purpose. The University of Unlikely. You have earned advanced degrees from the University of Unlikely, where divine love teaches courses that cannot be found in any earthly curriculum. You have mastered subjects like hoping against hope, believing without seeing, trusting through tears, and praising in pain. These are doctoral-level courses that prepare you for assignments that require supernatural wisdom and spiritual maturity. Your professors in this university have been circumstances that seemed designed to break you, but actually were intended to build you. Your classmates have been fellow travelers who were also learning how to navigate seasons of confusion, delay, and disappointment while maintaining faith in divine goodness. Your textbooks have been divine promises that you studied not just intellectually, but experientially, learning their truth through living their reality. The degree you are receiving from this university is not a piece of paper, but a piece of divine nature implanted in your character. The education you have received is not just information, but transformation. Not just knowledge, but wisdom. Not just theory, but testimony. What you have learned in the University of Unlikely will serve you for the rest of your life and beyond. The archaeology of the soul. Layers of pain, disappointment, and trauma have been carefully excavated from your soul by divine love, working as master archaeologist, removing debris that has accumulated over years of living in a broken world. Each layer removed has revealed artifacts of divine image that were buried but not destroyed. Treasures of identity that were hidden but not lost. This archaeological work has been painstaking and sometimes painful, requiring careful attention to ensure that nothing valuable is discarded in the process of removing what needs to go. Divine love has worked with surgical precision, extracting poison while preserving what is precious, removing infection while maintaining integrity, clearing contamination while keeping character intact. The artifacts being uncovered in this excavation are original designs of divine intention for your life, dreams that were buried under disappointment, gifts that were covered by insecurity, callings that were hidden by fear. As these treasures are brought to light, you are rediscovering who you were always meant to be beneath the accumulated sediment of painful experiences. The physics of faith. Faith operates by physics that transcend natural law, creating possibilities that defy earthly limitations. The faith you have developed through years of testing has learned to generate energy that moves mountains of impossibility, creates momentum that overcomes inertia of stagnation, and produces velocity that accelerates breakthrough beyond normal timelines. Your faith has become a force field that repels negativity, doubt, and discouragement while attracting hope, possibility, and divine favor. The magnetic properties of your faith draw to you the people, opportunities, and resources that align with divine purpose for your life. The gravitational pull of your faith keeps you grounded in truth while lifting you above circumstances that would otherwise pull you down. The energy generated by your faith is now reaching critical mass, approaching the point where breakthrough becomes inevitable, where manifestation becomes unavoidable, where transformation becomes unstoppable. The faith that seemed so small and fragile in the beginning has grown into a spiritual nuclear reactor that is about to produce power beyond anything you imagined possible. The meteorology of miracles. The atmospheric conditions surrounding your life have been shifting, creating the perfect climate for miracles to manifest. The high-pressure systems of stress and struggle are giving way to low-pressure zones of rest and peace. The storm fronts of confusion and chaos are being replaced by clear skies of clarity and direction. Winds of change are beginning to blow, carrying fresh hope across the landscape of your life, pollinating dreams that have been dormant with new possibility for growth and manifestation. The temperature of divine love is rising, melting frozen expectations and thawing hardened hearts that had given up on the possibility of change. Rainfall of blessing is approaching, promising to end the drought that has persisted in certain areas of your life. This rain will not be a gentle sprinkle, but a downpour of favor that will saturate every dry place, flood every barren area, and overflow every empty container you have prepared to receive divine outpouring. The chemistry of change. Chemical reactions are occurring in the laboratory of your spirit as divine love combines with human surrender to produce compounds of transformation that cannot be created any other way. The formula for breakthrough requires precise measurements of faith, hope, love, patience, and perseverance, mixed in perfect proportions under the right conditions of divine timing. Your spiritual chemistry has been altered by exposure to divine presence, changing your composition at the molecular level of identity. Elements of fear, doubt, and shame are being replaced by compounds of confidence, faith, and peace. The pH balance of your soul has been adjusted from acidic to alkaline, creating an environment where joy can flourish and hope can thrive. The catalysts of divine love are accelerating reactions that would normally take years to complete, speeding up processes of healing, growth, and transformation. What has been developing slowly over time is now approaching the moment of complete reaction, where all the elements combine to produce the breakthrough you have been waiting for. The geology of glory. Seismic shifts are occurring in the bedrock of your life as divine love reshapes the foundational structures that determine what can be built upon them. Fault lines of fear and insecurity are being healed, creating stable ground for the construction of new dreams and possibilities. The earthquake of encounter with divine love has cracked open ground that seemed permanently hard, allowing seeds of hope to find soil where they can take root and grow. New geological formations are being created as divine love performs mountain-moving miracles in your life. Hills of difficulty that have blocked your view of the horizon are being leveled, creating clear sight lines to destinations you couldn't see before. Valleys of despair that seemed impossible to cross are being filled with grace, creating pathways to new territories of blessing and breakthrough. The precious metals and gems of divine nature that were buried deep in the rock of your character are being brought to the surface through the mining operation of divine love. These treasures were always there, waiting to be discovered, but required the deep digging of difficulty to be exposed and extracted. The astronomy of awakening. Your spiritual eyes are being opened to see celestial movements that have been occurring in heavenly realms while you walked through earthly struggles. Constellations of blessing have been aligning, creating navigational patterns that will guide you into new territories of purpose and destiny. The stars of divine promises that seemed distant and dim are now appearing brighter and closer as you approach the time of their fulfillment. Planets of possibility that were in retrograde motion, seeming to move away from you rather than toward you, are beginning to turn direct, accelerating their approach to intersection with your life path. Solar eclipses of confusion that blocked the light of divine love are ending, allowing the full radiance of divine favor to shine upon your life again. Meteor showers of miracle are approaching, bringing spectacular displays of divine power that will leave no doubt about divine intervention in your circumstances. The aurora of anointing is beginning to dance across the sky of your consciousness, painting beautiful pictures of what divine love can do when heaven touches earth. The biology of blessing. New life is being born within you, as divine love fertilizes dreams that seemed barren, hopes that appeared dead, and possibilities that looked impossible. The DNA of divine nature is being implanted in your spiritual cells, causing mutations that transform you from ordinary to extraordinary, from natural to supernatural, from limited to limitless. Your spiritual circulatory system is being improved as divine love pumps fresh hope through arteries that were clogged with disappointment and despair. The oxygen of divine breath is reaching organs of your spirit that were suffocating in the atmosphere of defeat, reviving them to full function and vitality. Healing is occurring at the cellular level as divine love repairs damage caused by trauma, rejection, and abandonment. Scar tissue from old wounds is being replaced with healthy new growth that is stronger and more resilient than the original. The immune system of your faith is being strengthened to resist future attacks of doubt, fear, and discouragement. The technology of testimony. Your story is being written with divine software that turns tragedy into triumph, pain into purpose, and mess into message. The technology of testimony is transforming raw data of difficult experiences into wisdom that will help others navigate similar challenges with greater success and less suffering. The hard drive of your memory is being defragmented by divine love, reorganizing files of painful experiences so they no longer slow down the operation of your hope or corrupt the programs of your faith. Viruses of victim mentality are being quarantined and deleted, replaced with empowering software that runs on the operating system of divine love. Your testimony is being uploaded to the cloud of witnesses, where it will be accessible to anyone who needs evidence that breakthrough is possible, that healing can happen, that dreams can come true, even after they seem to die. The bandwidth of your influence is being expanded to carry the download of hope to hearts that are hungry for proof that divine love still works miracles in human lives. The conclusion of commissioning. As this season of preparation concludes, a new chapter of commissioning begins. You are being sent forth not as someone who has merely survived difficulty, but as someone who has been transformed by it. Not as a victim of circumstances, but as a victor over them. Not as a casualty of spiritual warfare, but as a casualty-creating weapon in divine hands. The breakthrough you are experiencing is not just for your personal benefit, but for the expansion of divine kingdom on earth. You are being positioned as a demonstration of divine power, a display of divine love, a declaration of divine faithfulness. Your life will become a billboard that advertises the goodness of divine love to a world that has forgotten how to hope. The anointing you carry is not for personal elevation, but for public service. Not for private blessing, but for public benefit. Not for individual glory, but for divine glory, displayed through human vassals who have learned to contain divine presence without being corrupted by divine power. You are the breakthrough. You are the answer to someone else's prayer. You are the miracle someone else is believing for. You are the testimony someone else needs to hear. You are the proof that divine love still moves in human lives, that grace still transforms impossible situations, that faith still moves mountains, and that hope still conquers despair. The breakthrough is here. The breakthrough is now. The breakthrough is you. And this is only the beginning of what divine love will do through your life as you walk in the fullness of your identity, the power of your purpose, and the glory of your destiny. Go now and let the world see what divine love can do when it finds a willing vessel, a surrendered heart, a life that has been broken and remade into something more beautiful than it ever was before. Your breakthrough is not just yours. It belongs to everyone who will be touched by the testimony of your transformation. The best is yet to come. The philosophy of divine patience. Divine patience operates on principles that transcend human understanding of time and efficiency. While the world demands instant results and immediate gratification, divine love works with the patience of eternity, understanding that true transformation cannot be rushed without risking structural integrity. The patience you have learned to embody mirrors divine character, teaching you that timing is not about speed, but about perfection. Your journey through seasons of waiting has been a masterclass in divine patience, where each day of endurance built another layer of spiritual maturity. The patience you developed was not passive resignation, but active faith, not giving up, but growing up, not surrendering to circumstances, but surrendering to divine timing. This patience has become a strength that will serve you for the rest of your life, enabling you to walk in wisdom rather than rushing into premature decisions. The patience of divine love has been working in your favor even when it felt like punishment. Every delay has been divine protection, from timing that would have resulted in blessing you weren't ready to handle, or opportunities that would have overwhelmed rather than elevated you. Divine patience has been your guardian, ensuring that when breakthrough comes, it comes with sustainability, longevity, and the capacity to build upon it rather than being destroyed by it. The economics of eternity. The economic principles of eternity operate by different laws than earthly finance, where investments made in faith yield returns that compound beyond human calculation. Your tears have been deposits in eternal accounts, where interest accumulates at rates that defy earthly understanding. Every act of faith, no matter how small it seemed at the time, has been earning dividends in dimensions beyond physical sight. The currency of eternity is not gold or silver, but character, integrity, love, and faithfulness. These investments never lose value, never depreciate with time, and never become obsolete due to changing market conditions. The portfolio you have been building through years of faithful endurance is now reaching maturity, ready to pay out returns that will astound you with their abundance and precision. Divine economics work on the principle of seed time and harvest, where what is sown in one season is reaped in another, often multiplied beyond recognition. The seeds of sacrifice you planted in seasons of struggle are now approaching harvest time, promising yields that will not only meet your needs, but overflow to bless countless others who will benefit from the fruit of your faithfulness. The architecture of destiny. Your destiny has been under construction all along, even when it appeared that nothing was happening. Divine architects have been drawing blueprints, celestial contractors have been laying foundations, and heavenly engineers have been calculating load-bearing requirements for the weight of glory that your life is designed to carry. The delays you experienced were necessary construction phases that could not be skipped without compromising structural integrity. The building materials for your destiny have been quarried from your experiences, refined through your trials, and strengthened through your endurance. The steel beams of your character have been forged in the furnace of adversity, creating support strong enough to hold whatever divine love chooses to build upon them. The foundation stones of your faith have been tested under pressure and proven capable of supporting structures that will stand for generations. The architectural plans for your life include not just your personal blessing, but the accommodation of others who will find shelter, guidance, and hope within the structure of your testimony. Your destiny is being built, not as a monument to your strength, but as a sanctuary where divine love can be encountered by anyone who enters the influence of your life. The cartography of calling. The map of your calling has been drawn by divine hands that see the end from the beginning, plotting a course that takes into account every obstacle, every opportunity, and every intersection where your path will cross with others who need what you carry. The route you have traveled may have seemed circuitous, but every turn has been deliberate. Every turn has been deliberate, every delay strategic. The geographic landmarks of your journey include mountains of difficulty that build your endurance, valleys of despair that deepened your dependence on divine love, and deserts of waiting that taught you to find water in unexpected places. Each terrain has contributed to your preparation for the territory you are now entering, where the landscape changes from survival to abundance, from struggling to flourishing. The compass of your heart has been calibrated by divine love to point toward true north, ensuring that even when circumstances create magnetic interference, you can still find your way to the destination that has been prepared for you. The navigation system of your spirit has been programmed with coordinates that will guide you unerringly toward the fulfillment of divine purpose. The archaeology of anointing. Layers of religious tradition, human expectation, and performance pressure have been carefully excavated from your understanding of divine love, revealing the authentic anointing that was buried beneath centuries of accumulated misconception. This archaeological work has been necessary to uncover the original design for relationship with divine love, free from the distortions that have hidden its true nature. Ancient artifacts of divine intention have been unearthed from the dig site of your heart, where they were preserved beneath the rubble of disappointment and disillusionment. These treasures of truth have been waiting for the right season to be brought to light, when you would have the spiritual maturity to handle their power and the emotional stability to steward their significance. The excavation process has been methodical and careful, ensuring that nothing valuable is lost in the removal of what needs to go. Divine love has worked as master archaeologist, using precise tools to separate authentic calling from artificial expectations, genuine gifts from manufactured ministry, true identity from false personas that were constructed to meet others' approval. The meteorology of mercy. Atmospheric conditions in the spiritual realm have been shifting, creating the perfect climate for miracles to manifest in your life. The high-pressure systems of stress and striving are giving way to low-pressure zones of rest and grace, allowing supernatural phenomena to occur in the space where human effort ends and divine intervention begins. Weather patterns of mercy are converging over your life, bringing together elements that have been building in separate systems for years. The cold front of justice is meeting the warm air of grace, creating the perfect conditions for storms of breakthrough that will change the landscape of your circumstances forever. These are not destructive storms, but constructive ones, washing away what needs to go and watering what needs to grow. Barometric pressure readings in your spirit indicate that the storm of blessing is approaching rapidly, bringing with it lightning strikes of revelation, thunderclaps of authority, and rainfall of provision that will end every drought and fill every empty place in your life. The weather forecast for your future shows clear skies of favor and abundant sunshine of divine approval. The botany of blessing. Seeds of promise that were planted in the soil of your heart during seasons of struggle are now germinating, sending up shoots of hope that will soon break through the surface into visible manifestation. The garden of your life has been under cultivation by divine hands that know exactly which plants will thrive in your unique soil composition and which ones need to be removed to make room for more fruitful varieties. The photosynthesis of faith has been converting the light of divine love into spiritual energy that feeds the growth process, even during seasons when you couldn't see any visible progress. Underground root systems have been developing extensive networks that will support abundant fruit production when the time of harvest arrives. The deeper the roots, the greater the capacity for sustainable growth and lasting impact. Pruning shears of divine love have been carefully trimming away branches that would have drained energy from the main growth, ensuring that your resources are concentrated on producing the highest quality fruit rather than being dispersed among too many competing priorities. What seemed like loss was actually preparation for greater abundance, clearing space for growth that wouldn't have been possible otherwise. The psychology of breakthrough. Your mental and emotional patterns have been undergoing systematic renovation as divine love rewrites the programming that determines how you process experiences, interpret circumstances, and respond to challenges. Old neural pathways of negative thinking are being replaced with new circuits of hope, faith, and possibility that create different outcomes from the same inputs. The psychology of breakthrough operates on principles of renewed thinking that transforms not just what you believe, but how you believe, not just what you expect, but how you expect it. Your cognitive frameworks have been expanded to accommodate realities that were previously impossible for you to conceive, creating mental space for miracles that your old mindset couldn't contain. Emotional intelligence has been developing through your journey, teaching you to recognize the difference between authentic spiritual discernment and manufactured fear, between genuine divine leading and manipulative human pressure, between healthy boundaries and unhealthy isolation. This emotional maturity has prepared you to handle breakthrough with wisdom rather than being overwhelmed by sudden change. The sociology of transformation. Your transformation has implications beyond your individual life, creating ripple effects that will influence the social fabric of every community you touch. The breakthrough you experience becomes social proof for others who have been afraid to hope, demonstrating that change is possible, even in situations that seem impossible to escape or overcome. Relationship dynamics in your life are shifting as divine love restructures your social ecosystem, attracting people who recognize and value the anointing you carry while gently removing those who are draining your energy or diminishing your vision. The quality of your relationships is improving as you learn to interact from wholeness rather than neediness, strength rather than weakness, love rather than fear. Your testimony becomes a bridge that helps others cross from their current circumstances into new possibilities, serving as living proof that divine love still intervenes in human affairs. The social impact of your breakthrough extends far beyond your immediate circle, influencing people you may never meet through the testimony of those whose lives are touched by your transformation. The anthropology of anointing. The study of divine activity in human history reveals patterns of how divine love works through individuals to accomplish purposes that extend far beyond their personal benefit. Your life is becoming part of this historical record, contributing to the ongoing story of divine intervention that encourages future generations to believe in the reality of supernatural transformation. Cultural anthropologists would find in your story evidence of the universal human capacity for transcendence, the ability to rise above circumstances and limitations through connection with divine love. Your journey demonstrates the malleability of human nature when it comes into contact with divine grace, showing how even the most hardened hearts can be softened and the most damaged souls can be restored. The artifacts of your transformation will be preserved in the testimonies of those whose lives are changed by witnessing your breakthrough, creating an oral tradition that carries forward the evidence of divine faithfulness to future generations who will need proof that miracles still happen in ordinary lives. The linguistics of liberation. The language you use to describe yourself and your circumstances has been evolving as divine love teaches you new vocabulary that reflects spiritual reality rather than natural appearance. Words of defeat, limitation, and impossibility are being replaced with expressions of victory, potential, and divine possibility that create different outcomes through the power of declaration. Your internal dialogue has been reprogrammed from the language of victim mentality to the vocabulary of victory, from the grammar of poverty to the syntax of abundance, from the pronunciation of pain to the articulation of purpose. This linguistic transformation affects not just how you communicate with others, but how you communicate with yourself and with divine love. The etymology of your experiences is being rewritten as divine love provides new definitions for words like failure, delay, disappointment, and struggle, showing you how these apparent setbacks were actually setups for comebacks that wouldn't have been possible any other way. The dictionary of your destiny is being authored by divine wisdom that gives new meaning to every chapter of your story. The philosophy of process. Process has become your teacher in ways that instant gratification never could, showing you the value of development over delivery, formation over function, becoming over getting. The philosophy of divine love embraces process as the pathway to permanent transformation rather than temporary change, understanding that what is built slowly lasts longer than what is acquired quickly. Your appreciation for process has grown as you've discovered that the journey is as important as the destination, that who you become along the way is as valuable as what you receive at the end. The process has been refining not just your circumstances, but your character, not just your situation, but your soul, not just your position, but your person. The wisdom you've gained through walking through process cannot be downloaded or transferred, but must be earned through experience, making it more valuable than knowledge that can be acquired through study. This experiential wisdom gives you authority to speak into situations with credibility that comes from having lived through similar challenges and emerged victorious. The mathematics of multiplication. Divine mathematics operate on principles of multiplication rather than addition, where small inputs create exponential outputs that defy natural calculation. The faith you've exercised in small matters has been earning compound interest that will pay out in measures beyond your ability to contain or comprehend when the time of harvest arrives. Multiplication tables in divine economy show how one act of obedience can yield returns that impact generations, how one moment of surrender can unlock blessings that last for lifetimes, how one decision to trust can trigger chain reactions of favor that extend far beyond your ability to trace their influence. The mathematics of miracle work in dimensions that transcend earthly accounting systems. Your breakthrough will multiply itself through the lives of everyone who witnesses it, creating exponential impact that reaches into spheres of influence you may never know about. The seeds of hope that are planted by your testimony will reproduce themselves in other hearts, creating harvests of faith that will feed hungry souls for years to come. The chemistry of character. Chemical reactions have been occurring in the laboratory of your spirit as divine love combines with human surrender to create compounds of character that cannot be manufactured through human effort alone. The formula for transformation requires precise measurements of mercy, grace, truth, and love, mixed under the specific conditions of divine timing and pressure. Your spiritual chemistry has been altered by exposure to divine presence, changing your composition at the molecular level of identity and creating new elements of personality that didn't exist before your encounter with transforming love. These new character compounds are more stable than the original elements, less likely to break down under pressure or react negatively to challenging circumstances. The catalysts of divine encounter have accelerated reactions that would normally take lifetimes to complete, speeding up processes of healing, growth, and maturation through supernatural intervention. The end products of these chemical changes are character traits that reflect divine nature, making you more like divine love in your responses, reactions, and relationships. The physics of faith. Faith operates according to laws of spiritual physics that transcend natural limitations, creating momentum that can move mountains of impossibility and generate energy that powers breakthrough in areas where human effort has failed. The faith you've developed has learned to harness these supernatural forces, directing them toward the manifestation of divine promises in your life. Quantum mechanics of miracle work. At subatomic levels of reality where thoughts become things, words become worlds, and beliefs become experiences. Your faith has been learning to operate in these quantum dimensions where linear time doesn't apply and distance doesn't matter, allowing you to call things that are not as though they were until they manifest in physical reality. The electromagnetic field of your faith creates attraction for resources, people, and opportunities that align with divine purpose, while simultaneously repelling influences that would work against divine plans. This spiritual magnetism operates independently of your conscious effort, drawing what you need and deflecting what would harm you through the automatic operation of divine love, working through surrendered faith. The geography of glory. Divine glory is mapping new territories in your life, claiming regions that were previously occupied by fear, doubt, and limitation. Like an advancing army that liberates conquered territory, glory has been systematically taking ground and establishing new boundaries that exclude everything that would diminish divine presence or interfere with divine purpose. Topographical changes are occurring in the landscape of your life as divine glory reshapes mountains of difficulty into stepping stones of opportunity, fills valleys of despair with rivers of hope, and transforms deserts of waiting into oases of refreshing. The geography of your circumstances is being redrawn according to divine blueprints that prioritize divine glory over human comfort. Climate zones in your life are shifting from the harsh conditions that characterize seasons of struggle to the favorable environment that supports abundant growth and fruitful productivity. The weather patterns of divine favor are becoming more consistent, providing the optimal conditions for everything planted in your life to flourish beyond your wildest expectations. The technology of testimony. Your story is being written with advanced spiritual technology that converts raw data of difficult experiences into processed wisdom that can be uploaded to the hearts of others who need evidence that transformation is possible. The software of divine grace is running sophisticated programs that turn your pain into purpose, your mess into message, your test into testimony. The hardware of your human experience has been upgraded to handle larger amounts of divine presence, greater levels of spiritual authority, and increased capacity for supernatural operation. Your spiritual operating system has been updated with new programs for joy, peace, power, and love that run more efficiently than the old software of struggle, striving, and surviving. Cloud storage of divine memory preserves every detail of your transformation process, creating a permanent record that can be accessed by anyone who needs proof that divine love still works miracles in human lives. The bandwidth of your influence is being expanded to carry downloads of hope to hearts that are starving for evidence that breakthrough is still possible. The ecology of anointing. Your anointing creates an ecosystem that supports the growth and development of everyone who comes into contact with your presence, providing the spiritual nutrients necessary for others to flourish in their own calling and destiny. Like a tree that provides shade, fruit, and oxygen to its environment, your life becomes a source of life for others. The carbon dioxide of others' despair is converted into the oxygen of hope through the photosynthesis of your faith, creating an atmosphere where faith can breathe freely and hope can take root. The decomposition of your past struggles becomes fertilizer that enriches the soil for others' dreams, turning your pain into their gain. Symbiotic relationships develop between your anointing and the needs of others, creating mutually beneficial connections where your overflow meets their emptiness. Your strength supports their weakness, and your victory inspires their faith. This ecological balance ensures that everyone benefits from the health of the whole system. The astronomy of authority. Celestial alignments are occurring in spiritual dimensions as divine love positions you in places of influence where your voice will carry weight, your presence will command respect, and your testimony will open doors that have been closed to others. The stars of divine favor are aligning to create navigational patterns that will guide you into territories of increased authority and expanded influence. Your orbital path is being adjusted to bring you into proximity with people, resources, and opportunities that have been waiting for someone with your combination of character, calling, and credibility. These gravitational pulls of divine destiny will draw you into spheres of influence where your impact will be maximized and your effectiveness amplified. Solar systems of relationship are forming around the gravitational force of your anointing, attracting others who recognize the divine authority you carry and want to benefit from the wisdom you've gained through your journey. These planetary arrangements will create stable structures that support long-term kingdom impact and lasting legacy. The architecture of authority. Foundations of authority are being laid in your life through the concrete of character that has been poured and tested under pressure, creating a base strong enough to support whatever weight of responsibility divine love chooses to place upon it. The blueprints for your authority include not just personal power, but the capacity to empower others. Load-bringing walls of integrity are being constructed to ensure that the structure of your influence can withstand the winds of opposition, the earthquakes of crisis, and the floods of criticism that often test those who carry divine authority. These walls are built with materials that have been proven through your own testing, making them reliable supports for others who will lean on your strength. The electrical systems of your authority are being wired to carry current from the divine source to every room of your influence, ensuring that light shines in dark places, power flows to strengthen the weak, and warmth reaches those who have been cold. The plumbing of your anointing will carry living water to refresh thirsty souls and cleanse contaminated thinking. The biology of breakthrough. Cellular regeneration is occurring throughout your spiritual being, as divine love repairs damage at the DNA level of your identity, replacing corrupted genetic code with divine nature that cannot be destroyed by external circumstances. Your spiritual chromosomes are being rewritten to carry traits of divine character that will be passed on to spiritual children you mentor and influence. The immune system of your faith has been strengthened through exposure to various challenges, building antibodies against doubt, fear, and discouragement that will protect you from future attacks. Your spiritual white blood cells of worship and praise have learned to identify and neutralize threats before they can establish infection in your heart or mind. Growth hormones of divine grace are being released in unprecedented quantities, accelerating development that would normally take years and compressing timelines of transformation into seasons of supernatural acceleration. The metabolism of your spiritual life has increased to the point where you can process larger amounts of divine input and convert it more efficiently into kingdom output. The literature of legacy. Your story is being written as a classic that will be read by generations who need evidence that ordinary people can experience extraordinary transformation when they encounter divine love. The narrative arc of your journey includes all the elements of great literature: conflict, character development, plot twists, climax, and resolution, making it compelling reading for anyone who has faced similar challenges. The themes woven throughout your story include redemption, restoration, renewal, and resurrection, creating a tapestry of hope that speaks to universal human needs and longings. Your testimony becomes part of the library of divine faithfulness, taking its place alongside other stories that document divine intervention in human history. Literary critics of the future will analyze your story for its demonstration of how divine love works through ordinary circumstances to accomplish extraordinary purposes, finding in your journey proof that the age of miracles has not ended but continues in the lives of those who dare to believe in the reality of supernatural transformation. The finale of faith. As this season of preparation concludes and the new chapter of manifestation begins, the symphony of your life reaches its crescendo where all the themes that have been developing throughout your journey come together in harmonious resolution. The discord of struggle resolves into the harmony of victory. The minor keys of pain transition into the major keys of joy, and the silence of waiting gives way to the music of fulfillment. Your faith has been the conductor of this orchestra, keeping time through tempo changes, maintaining rhythm through dynamic shifts, and ensuring that every instrument plays its part in the divine composition. The musicians of circumstance that once seemed to play out of tune have found their place in the larger arrangement, contributing to beauty rather than creating noise. The applause of heaven acknowledges the masterpiece that has been created through your willingness to trust the process, endure the practice sessions, and follow the conductor's lead even when you couldn't see the music. The standing ovation of divine approval celebrates not just what you've received, but who you've become in the process of receiving it. Your breakthrough is not just yours. It belongs to everyone who will be inspired by your testimony, encouraged by your example, and empowered by your presence. The ripple effects of your transformation will extend far beyond what you can see, touching lives you may never know about, and inspiring faith in hearts that have almost given up hope. The breakthrough is here. The breakthrough is now. The breakthrough is you. And this is only the beginning of what divine love will do through a life that has been broken and remade, tested and proven, refined and prepared for such a time as this. The best is yet to come.